Hello, beautiful mamas. As a working mom, sometimes I can really feel scattered, unorganized, or simply just rushing from one thing to another and all over the place. Finding time for myself and finding my sanity can almost feel like an impossible dream. Can you relate? Well, this is why I have created my free Mama's Guide to Creating Balance and Harmony as my gift to you. This guide contains my top 10 tips to creating balance and harmony in your life, as well as 3 beautiful trackers to help you get onto your journey in a fun and simple way. I have found by incorporating daily self-care routines and practices in my life for as little as 5 minutes a day, I am feeling more grounded, centered, and calm. By me tapping into my best version through these practices, I am also a better mom, a better partner, and a better colleague. Well, really, just a better human being in all the ways. So, if this sounds like something that you would like to explore, click on the link in the show notes below and download your free guide today.
We were all born with the innate power of knowing and wisdom within us. The challenge for many of us is that we were taught to seek answers externally instead of searching from within. And this is the reason why so many of us find ourselves going around in circles, searching for new ways, but could never find the way. The womanly way. It's not the way. It's not my way. But it is a pathway to support all of us returning back to self, reconnect with our inner wisdom through loving ourselves, knowing ourselves, and reconnecting with ourselves.
Tell me and be honest. Tell me should I've known.
So we can start to find our own way as modern day women. Are you interested? Well, sit back, relax, and welcome to this amazing journey.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Womanly Way podcast. I am your host, Lala Angela Wang. I just finished an amazing catch up with a new community that I belong to now, which I signed up to. I've actually wanted to be in this, it's called the Successful Woman, I think it's called Collective, Successful Women Collective. And they have an inner circle, which is about 12 of us in there at the moment. And we all have a different business, and every 2 weeks we come together and share our wins, share our learnings, share something about our business, and support one another. And really for me, like, I'm a entrepreneurial spirit through and through. Ever since I was little, I've always loved talking about business. I've always loved business ideas. And I always love bouncing ideas off people. So that gave me a whole lot of joy. It makes me really, really happy, but not only happy. And for me, like there's a difference between happiness and joy. For me, happiness is more on the surface. Joy is a deep, soulful level of happiness. It's deeper. It goes deeper. It goes into your bones, into your DNA. It's like all of you is happy. And that's what I call joy, right? It's something that comes from deep within. And it's like every cell in your body is giggling. It's full of vitality, full of energy. So I was inspired by this morning's gathering to really talk about why I believe that joy is to be cultivated and it's not a given. But before we do that, if you listened to last episode, you will know I started a ritual, and I thought that was kind of cute. So I decided to continue the same this episode, which is to pull a card before I do the actual formal part of the podcast or talk about the actual content. And this week, I am still drawn to this deck of cards. It's called the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle by Elena Fairchild. And the drawing is what I think the drawing was done by someone else. Let me just have a look. Yes. So the drawing was done by Wang Yi Guan. And he's got this most beautiful gift. He's drawing all these Asian girls, Kuan Yin, obviously from that part of the world. And they're just beautiful, beautiful paintings and artwork. Like these cards are essentially individual artworks on their own. Okay, so the card that I pulled out today, and the intention I set was, what would you like me to, so I asked Spirit, what would you like me to elaborate on in the matter of cultivating joy? And I pulled out card number 43. And it's called Sister of Shambhala Shows the Way. I'm just going to read, like last time, I'm going to read the top description, which is the overarching description for these cards, and then I'll post the rest of them on my Instagram, which is @thewomanly way. Okay, so 43, Sister of Shambhala Shows the Way. You have many brothers and sisters who are guiding you now. They understand where you are on the divine path and how to successfully navigate all matters of concerns so that you can cross the threshold from the old world to the golden temple. Your prayers for your purpose to be revealed and to manifest have been heard, as have your prayers to help in all matters. And you shall be shown the way through support every step of the way. And I pulled this card, I'm like, okay, interesting, because recently I started a free community on Facebook called the Joy Love Club. It's playing on, the Joy Luck Club. But for me, I've always been called a joy ray. Well, not always, but everybody, since I was little, everybody knows me for someone who is very joyful. My mentor, Donna, actually calls me the joy ray. Reason being that there's a lot of joy in me. So it's interesting because I would not have ever thought that I would play on the word joy and I would be bringing joy to the world. And it felt like about 2 weeks ago, it was time. It was time for me to bring more joy into the world and show people how we can actually cultivate joy into our lives. Because let's face it, right? The past few years has been pretty horrible. And if you live in Australia or the US, you understand living pressure is becoming increasingly, hard. And so joy sometimes could be hard to find. Stress everywhere. But joy sometimes could be really hard to find. And I truly believe sometimes we need to find ourselves the right community, the right support. And for me, this piece, I have pulled back on doing free Facebook groups for a very long time. One, I fully understand everyone's kind of all Facebook group out. And two, I wasn't really in a place of contribution in that way. But right now, this year, I've been brought back to the reason why I started mentoring and coaching, which is to do with mental health. So I decided to start this group really to support the mental well-being of people, mental wellness, and also to help anyone who's working in a professional sense, perhaps is a mom or a dad, around how we can combat burnout, because that is every free couple of weeks or so, I hear a topic about burnout. I hear people talking about burnout. I hear people reminding me about burnout. So to me, I think it's a very fitting topic and it's a very important topic around this time. And when I pulled out this card about community and being supported, I think now is really the time that we pull together like-minded communities and start supporting one another. Now, this card might have other meanings to you. You might have been waiting for a community, or you might have been waiting for some guidance. I truly believe this is card to say that you are supported, you are guided, especially with the Gemini new moon, and also we've got this Jupiter and Sun Cazini in the sky right now. Now is the time for you to dream big, wish big, and start taking action. So, all those things that you're manifesting are coming true because you are fully supported. And this card is definitely saying that. Now, you would heard me saying, I was literally born a joy ray. I was a very happy child growing up, almost too happy for my family. So our, I think, base emotions, or the way that we see the world, is actually 43% or 47% genetics. So if you come from a gloomy family, it's likely you're more likely to be gloomy than other people, right? So it is in the genetics, it is in the DNA, which makes sense because for the first at least 18 years of our lives, our parents are our biggest interaction, our biggest influences, right? Maybe at least for the first 10 anyway, depending on your living circumstances. So I learned very quickly that my light wasn't going to fit into my family, and I learned to dim it. My joy, even though I was born with it, and I've later found that it was actually my mission to bring more joy onto this planet, became a protection mechanism. It actually, instead of using it as my gift for, to create a better world for myself and for others, I started using it more as a tool, a protection mechanism, where I use it to hide how I really feel. I use it to hide all my negative emotions, because if I'm happy, then nobody has to worry about me, and nobody, almost like then I couldn't be in trouble. Then it became my people-pleasing mechanism, to use it to keep other people happy, to keep myself out of trouble, to be, in a lot of ways, not a troublemaker, right? So people don't ever have to worry about me. In fact, I quite often, in the past, people will say, Lala or Angela is very reliable, and you never hear anything from her unless it's a really big problem. Now that on its own is a problem, right? Because that meant I would never show how I truly feel to the rest of the world. I always have this mask of being happy and joyful and being the class clown that cheers everybody up. And in the end, that became my downfall. When I went through the divorce, I wasn't happy. And part of me going through that journey was really learning that my people-pleasing behavior and trying to be happy doesn't work, because I will have these outbursts of tantrums just like a 2-year-old. And I didn't know how to control my emotions. And when every time when it finally come out of the surface, I got really good at it, at hiding it. And so periods between outbursts became longer. But it also means the outburst, or the result of the outburst, or, the explosion, are more severe. So I went through depression, obviously, as a lot of you would know, after my divorce, and I had to pick myself back up. And even then, I was still using my joy, my happiness as my protection mechanism. It wasn't until I started going through personal development, my spiritual journey, especially with my now mentor, Donna McCormack, through her journey of mastery, I guess, would you say series or training or mentorship, I became more and more aware that joy doesn't have to be something that's out there. Have you ever seen people that are just like smiley all the time and happy all the time? And you often wonder, what pill are they on, or you know, what drugs are they on, or are they really happy? That used to be me. A little bit too much and too over the top. And it's through this journey I realized I can be happy and joyous, but it's a more heartwarming kind of joy. I can still spread it that way, but it doesn't have to be in your face. And it is also through this journey I realized that joy can be used in so many ways, or so many wrong ways, and portrayed in so many wrong ways. And that's not cultivating true joy. True joy is something that you could cultivate within you, and it takes work to then feel it, not necessarily outwardly, but inwardly. Like I said, opening this segment, it's something that comes from deep within you that spills over. It's not like, you know, when you're cooking soup and it just like bubbles over. It's not like that. It's more like when you put it on a constant simmer and then it lasts longer. Right? It's got no agenda. It's got no hidden meanings. It's just something that's simmering in the background. And the more that you simmer it, the thicker the soup become. The broth or the soup, when you're making chicken broth in Chinese, you have to simmer it for a long time. Right? And the soup, when you hard boil it and when you simmer it, are very different. The simmered soup is clear with no murkiness, and is so much more richer, or so much richer. Whereas if you hard boil it, you get a lot of cloudiness on your soup, and also makes a big mess, right? And you might be saying, well, Lala, that's lucky for you to say, because you were born a joy ray, so that should be easy. Well, the truth is it's actually not easy. It's not easy to understand what joy truly means to me. It's not easy to face the judgment of the outside world when you're getting criticized and people are calling you all sorts of names because you're different. It still takes work to really understand where my joy is coming from, whether it's from an external source, whether it's from wanting to please, or whether it's genuinely simmering within me. And I think it's so needed right now to understand how can we actually cultivate true joy within us, so we can get that simmering too and create this really rich broth called life. For me, really the first step, and I say it time and time again, gratitude. Being grateful for what you have is really the number one step. And then understanding yourself. Like for me, I really need to understand what really makes me happy, what gives me joy, where is my happy place. It used to be entertaining. It used to be with friends. It used to be with people. And now I realize, you know what? I am the happiest when I can just lay in bed, do whatever I want. Sometimes even doing nothing and just be with myself, be with my thought. People often think, because I've got such a public face on the social media, on the podcast, I must be a very extroverted person. I'm actually very introverted in private, especially with my human design profile, right? I am, depending on whether you look at a 13 sign sidereal or you look at a tropical astrology perspective, I am either a 2-4 or a 4-6 profile, which means there's a component of me that needed time on my own. Whether I am a 2 or a 6. A 6, we spend time sitting on the roof, observing. And as a 2, I'm a hermit at times, right? I love close connections, and this is the 4 in me. But for the majority of the times, I needed time alone, like literally solitude, being a hermit, time alone, no interaction, no nothing, and just be with my thoughts, be with myself. And you'll find when I can have those times, I recuperate so much more and I tap into my truest essence so much more. I actually really love reading. You know, for me, there's nothing better than just sitting there all day and binge on a book that I love, or learning something that I love. How many mums are like, oh my God, this is such a luxury, right? I'm actually planning a trip to Bali with my best friend in July for her 40th. And we're like, oh, imagine you could just sit all day and read. That's like the best. And that's the hermitness in me. And understanding who I am, what gives me joy, has been the biggest gift that allows me to be me. But also what it allows me to do is to back myself. You know, not care about what other people think of me, because then I don't tap into that people-pleasing side of me in terms of giving my joy away or expressing my joy from the shadow rather than from the light. And then finally is be with community that supports you. And I think that's what the card is trying to say, right? Be with the community that supports you. Because when you can do that, like memories are created, happy memories are created not in solitude. Human beings are tribal animals. So if you want to create amazing memories, if you want to create happy memories that sticks with you, that you can pull on a bad day, you want to make sure that it's something you love, something that makes you, you know, tap into your inner child, but also that you share with people. If you do something that you love alone, that's called addiction. Unfortunately, you know, how often we do things that we think is going to give us happiness, like binge eating and things, and we do it in private. How often those things becomes an addiction, right? Because you're not sharing with the people that you love. Therefore, you're not giggling, you're not laughing, you're not tapping into all those happy hormones where you can. And that's why when you do anything that's in a binge nature or addictive nature on your own, the joy, the happiness doesn't last. All right, so my 3 advices to sum up for this episode, how we cultivate joy and happiness, is number 1, be grateful and make sure that you have a great gratitude, you have a gratitude practice that allows you to tap into gratitude every single day. Number 2, know who you are and what gives you joy. And continue to do those things and set times, put aside time, allocate time, dedicating time to cultivate those experiences for you. And then whatever you do, make sure you do fun things that you love with people that you love. Even if you do things like being, you know, like me, I'm a hermit, love being on my own, I still love my food. I love having fun, having a laugh, having a chat, talk about business, and I do those things with the people that I love. If you can do those things, then you can start cultivating joy into your life. And if you're still looking for a community that will help you cultivate joy, that will bring you up and support you, feel free to join my Facebook community. It's called the Joy Love Club, and I'll put the link in the show note as well. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I look forward to speak to you more about cultivating joy, about helping our mental wellness, and tapping into more of our greatness and our potential. And on that note, I'm signing out for now, and we'll talk to you next time. Love you all so much. I'll chat to you next time. Bye.